Hi, I am Kedger on two wheels, and like you can see, it is raining. Squeak, squeak, squeak. So, and let's not talk about the weather, but let's talk about, I don't know, something else that just popped into my mind due to this weather. I have considered, and I'm sure most of us Portuguese have, emigrating. We all have, at some point. This is because usually in the northern countries of Europe, wages are much higher than here. Just for reference, our minimum wage is not even 600 euros a month. It's like 500 and something, or is it 485? I think it's 400, under 500. Okay, but it's around that. Let's just round it up and say it's about 500. I don't know. It's a bit silly, but no, I don't know it by heart at this moment. And as you can see, that's pretty low. And even though sometimes you can say, oh, the minimum wage is this, but very few people actually earn minimum wage. Here, no, it's many people earn not the minimum wage, but something very, very close to it. So unskilled workers get between minimum wage, which is, well, between regular and it's kind of rare, but factory workers, etc., especially in out of the big cities, that's more common. In the big cities it's less common, but they don't earn much more than that. Unskilled workers, they make like 600, 700 if it's a bit more of responsibility, like cashiers and things like that, might get nearly 700. And usually it's not even 700 solids, like 600 plus lunch money. We get a subsidy from supposedly the government for €1 or something per day, or €2 per day or something like that for lunch, which equates to 150, no, it's like €3 or 4. It's like 100 euros a month extra for that. So they get like 600 plus the lunch subsidy, so it's like 700. I'm not really sure who pays for that, but okay. I think it's the company, and then they can deduct from their taxes or something like that. Don't know, it doesn't matter. You get like 600 plus 100 for as lunch money, as a lunch subsidy. That's pretty normal. And then you get to skilled workers, skilled as in having a college graduation, and fresh out of college graduates earn between 900 and 1,000. College grads with a bit of experience earn between 1,000 and 1,200, and then with a lot more experience they get about at most 1,300 to 1,400. And to get more than that, there's some kind of a blockage there. You need to be managing. Okay, so wages are pretty low. These are average wages. Of course, I don't know the wages of everyone, but it's a rough estimate in my experience. And so everyone thinks of immigrating, obviously. When you get to an airport in Germany and you see that the janitor on that airport makes like 2,500 a month, you go like, what? I studied for 5 years to earn half? What the hell? Granted, standard of living is more expensive. We can have lunch for, say, 8 euros every day. If we go somewhere cheaper, we can even get it for less, but okay. Sorry. Things don't change, that don't change price. Our cell phones, electronics and stuff like that. Services are also very expensive here. Internet and TV costs me like $100 a month. Sorry. Internet, TV and cell phone, it's all in a single contract is like $100 a month. But yeah, whatever. So we think about emigrating quite often. One of the reasons I discard that possibility is, one, I have 3 kids. The youngest wouldn't even care, okay, wouldn't even notice, because he's like 5, and he already knows some English from YouTube. Not kidding. Showed him a picture of a shark, and instead of saying tubarão, which is the Portuguese word, he looks at me and says, "Oh, shark, bite, danger," all in English, in perfect English from YouTube. So he gets, at that age you just pick up languages instantly, so that's what he's doing. He wouldn't even care. The next one, which is She is 10. She's almost 10 now. She would adapt, but it would be odd for her. She'd have to learn a new language, which she can quite easily. She's actually learning English in school. She's very proficient at it. So it wouldn't be much of a stress, but it would stress her out quite a lot. But yeah, she would adapt eventually. But the oldest one is like 15. And even though he's got an English which is almost as good as mine, doesn't have a big enough vocabulary, but he can speak English perfectly well. He would survive, but it would be extremely stressful for him. His career would be ruined. He is an actor with quite a curriculum already, so that would just stop. Okay, no contacts, no nothing. And yeah, that's one of the reasons. The wife, she doesn't quite speak English, as you can see. The English in the videos is just about the best she can manage. So she would also adapt, she would learn some English, but it would be tough on everyone. That's one factor. I would be the only one who would actually be able to do it. If we would go for like England, if we would go for like Germany, then we would have problems for everyone. Okay, no one speaks the language, and German is pretty hard to learn. Or Deutsch is German, stupid me. Dutch. Go for Holland or somewhere like Denmark or something like that. Another thing is that we are creatures of the sun. We hate rainy days, and I couldn't stand to live in the UK where it rains all the time. I would go literally nuts if it rains all the time. Seriously, I would be climbing walls, going mad. All four of us would, basically. So yeah, that's some reasons. Now, the video is not just talking about my reasons not to emigrate. I just love the weather too much. I wouldn't want to put the family through that stress. Although supposedly they would have a more comfortable life, but I'm not sure on that, because well, standards of living change, etc. And I also factor in that the grass is always greener on the other side, so I make things a bit less green on the other side to make sure that I'm still grounded. But I would like to hear your experiences. Let's start a discussion. Comments. If you have been an expat, have you emigrated? Have you lived abroad for an extended period of time? From what country to what country? Americans. It doesn't really count when you're American and you go to Australia for a year. That's kind of like the same thing, okay? Same language, kind of the same culture with a bit of differences. Like for example, in Australia, everything's trying to kill you or poison you or hurt you in unimaginable ways, but that's just about it. I'm talking about more exotic things, like an American going to Switzerland or a Swiss going to Cambodia. Crazy things. Let's see how your experience was. Was it a positive experience? Were you too homesick? What did you miss from home? What were the most important things you actually missed from home? Was the horrible experience and why? Was the standard of living radically different? What were the things that shocked you the most? In my travels, some of the things that, at least in the Middle East, that shocked me the most is just the feel of it. It just feels different. I can't quite put my finger on it, but what did you find different, odd? What shocked you the most in that expat experience, etc. Just let's share a bit of experiences. Yeah, there are forums for that, but well, why not here? Let's see. Oh, by the way, for other nationalities, the good thing about the EU is that I can just take my car, put the kids in it, and just drive to London, no questions asked, stop in London and go, let's rent a house here and let's find some jobs here. That's the beautiful thing about the EU, and that's exactly why UK voted for Brexit, because they don't want that for some reason. They apparently think that all the Romanians are going there. Well, yeah, they are. So are the Poles, because, well, if they live in a poor country and they can just drive to a richer country and get a better life, well, they are going to do that, aren't they? Thing is, they kind of forget that's also the opposite. So any Brits can also, yeah, I'm bored with the weather and I'm going to get my retirement in the south of Europe, so bye-bye. And then off he goes into the south of Europe to live his golden years. So yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages on that. Also helps immensely with business, as you can hire anyone from anyone in the EU if they are willing to relocate. So that's just absolutely awesome in terms of business, because you can get anyone from anywhere. You can also sell anything to anyone in the European Union, which is the biggest plus point. So suddenly with the EU, for example, our little country with 10 million people suddenly had access with no taxes, with no hassle, with even the same coin, except for the UK, no currency exchange rates, no needs to have different currencies on the selling website. Easier for customers to evaluate the price of your product since everything's the same currency to anyone in the entire European Union. So it's a huge market. So any little bike equipment shop, for example in Germany, can sell to the whole of Europe and be very successful at it. An example, Lois.de, fcmoto.de, those two, for example, set up a good international website and they're selling like hotcakes, everything, constantly. The UK also went onto the bandwagon and is selling mostly to the European Union, which is gonna stop. But yeah, that's not the point. The point is, how was your expat experience? Keep in mind, in Europe you can just relocate whenever you want to wherever you want, no questions asked. In the case of Americans, well, there's a bit of a couple of hurdles to jump through, but it's generally easy. I know that emigrating into the US is a pain in the ass. The resident visa program takes years to complete, and multiple idiocies, like some Australian bloke who lived in the US for ages legally and then got married, and then because he was married he wanted to do the full residence permit something, and it took him years to do that. And this is the really funny part, he was like in LA, and he was living in LA for quite a long time under the, I don't know, he was legal because he was married with an American citizen, and he was legal during the periods to actually get his permanent green card, visa, whatever it is. And he had to have an interview with the American consul for the visa program, but it had to be in Australia. It couldn't be done in the US. So he was living in the US, had to travel all the way to Australia to get the interview, and then after the interview he couldn't re-enter the US. So yeah, you have some problems. We all do. Okay, we also have some of that still in this. But that was a pretty funny story, and apparently it's not a single case. Okay, whatever. How was your thingy? Yeah, let's share experiences. Visa problems, ridiculousness, idiocies, etc, etc, etc. It should be fun. Get your out. As a little, it's not prologue, end credits? I missed the words. The little film after the film, PS? No, that's for letters. Whatever, this you're seeing. Well, emigrate to Portugal. Yeah, the wages are low, but the weather's nice. Not today. Actually, quite a lot of Brits like to come to Portugal and live like their golden years in Algarve, or at least come for vacations, to the point where in Algarve in the summer you're better off speaking English than Portuguese. Seriously, I went there on Les Alés. I went there and I was literally waited on at 2 restaurants by an English guy, which is, well, odd. Doesn't make me go like, bloody immigrants. But yeah, it's kind of fun that you're in Portugal and the waiter doesn't even speak Portuguese. Actually, I find that quite cool. Seriously, I find that very, very cool. That you can have that kind of intermingling or mix and match of, well, nationalities. I wouldn't say cultures, but yeah, cultures too. And no issues, not much of a problem. Yeah, so he doesn't speak the language. What's the problem? I speak his language. We can make ourselves understood. That's the only issue I can find. But yeah, and most of everyone in Algarve ends up speaking English because during the summer, well, it's basically an English colony in the summer. Not quite, but almost. many foreigners in Algarve. Okay, yeah, so if you want to emigrate somewhere, come here, it'll be fun. I promise you. We actually like foreigners here. We like to show our country. We do actually like to show off our country. And from what I've heard, quite unlike the French for some reason. Why don't you like foreigners? Why do you tell us, bloody foreigners, you can't speak French? Yeah, well, if you come to my country, I try to speak French. Or something resembling French, which is kind of what I do. I think I only know how to say, sorry, I don't really speak French. Whatever, okay. Let's proceed with the filtering on my way to work. See if I don't get killed today. And the traffic is kind of, yeah, relaxed today. No one's doing any silly stuff. Okay, yeah, now it's really it. Get your out.